How digital silence restores mental peace. Her phone screen glowed in the dark. Hundreds of messages, none that really mattered. The blue light carved shadows across her face, and somewhere between the endless scroll and the 3 a.m. silence, she realized she couldn't remember the last time she'd heard her own thoughts. Like most of us, she wasn't tired of work. She was tired of being on all the time. The constant hum of notifications, the invisible weight of unread emails, the quiet panic that comes from being unreachable for even an hour. We call it connectivity, but somewhere along the way, it started to feel like captivity. She thought about the last real conversation she'd had, not the kind through text bubbles and emojis, but the kind where you can hear someone breathe between sentences. When was the last time you truly disconnected? Not because your battery died or your signal dropped, but because you chose silence over stimulation. But what happened when she finally turned it all off, even for a day? There was silence, and for the first time, it didn't feel empty. It felt full of something she'd forgotten existed. Space, mental space, emotional space. The kind of room where thoughts could form without interruption, where feelings could land without being immediately typed into a status update. She wanted peace, but every vibration made her check again. Her hand moved toward the phone on muscle memory alone, fingers already unlocking the screen before her brain could decide if she actually needed to. Could she even exist without the noise? The question terrified her more than she wanted to admit. Stanford researchers found that dopamine spikes not from pleasure, but from anticipation. Our minds are wired to chase, not rest. Every notification is a tiny promise, a micro-lottery that might contain something important, something validating, something that proves we matter in a world that moves too fast to notice. We're not addicted to our phones, we're addicted to the possibility of what they might tell us about ourselves. She looked out the window. The city kept moving. She didn't. For the first time in months, she noticed the rhythm of the world outside her screen, the way light changed between morning and afternoon, the sound of rain that wasn't a white noise app, the feeling of time passing without measuring it in scroll depth. Maybe stillness was the loudest sound after all. Then came the silence, and it terrified her. The first hour felt like withdrawal. Her fingers twitched. Her mind raced through phantom notifications. She felt the ghost vibrations in her pocket, reached for a phone that wasn't there. This is what we've become, so synchronized with our devices that their absence feels like amputation. But something shifted around hour 3. The panic faded, the urge to check softened into curiosity. What was she missing? And then, more importantly, did it matter? Most of the noise we consume daily isn't information, it's stimulation. We're not staying informed, we're staying distracted. There's a difference between being connected to the world and being tethered to a screen. Research from the University of California found that it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully regain focus after a digital interruption. 23 minutes. Most of us are interrupted every 3 to 5 minutes throughout our workday. Do the math. We're spending most of our waking hours in a state of fractured attention, never quite present, never fully gone. It's a cognitive purgatory, and we've normalized it. She picked up a notebook, actual paper, the kind that doesn't glow or refresh or send push notifications. The pen felt strange in her hand, slower, more deliberate. Each word required commitment. There was no delete button, no autocorrect, no algorithm deciding what she meant to say. Just her thoughts, unfiltered and unwitnessed, flowing onto paper that would never archive, analyze, or advertise based on her private reflections. When was the last time you wrote something that no one else would ever see? The silence began to reveal what the noise had been covering. Underneath the constant digital chatter was something quieter, anxiety she hadn't named, exhaustion she hadn't acknowledged, a loneliness that didn't come from being alone but from being perpetually half present, with everyone and fully present with no one. Maybe rest was never the opposite of progress. Maybe it was the foundation. By day 2, she noticed something unexpected. Her nervous system began to recalibrate. The constant low-grade stress of digital availability, the feeling that someone, somewhere, might need her response right now, started to dissolve. Her shoulders dropped, her jaw unclenched. She realized she'd been holding tension in her body for so long she'd forgotten what relaxation actually felt like. Neuroscientists call this the default mode network, the brain's resting state where creativity blooms, memory consolidates, and we process the emotional complexity of being human. But this network only activates in genuine rest, not in the illusion of downtime we experience while scrolling. You can't heal what you won't pause to feel. She started noticing details, the texture of morning light, the way coffee tastes when you're not reading something while drinking it, the strange luxury of boredom, that uncomfortable space where imagination used to live before we filled every empty moment with content consumption. We've optimized away our inner life and called it productivity. What surprised me most wasn't just how a simple analog journal changed my routine, it was how I started feeling time again. This isn't a recommendation, just something that reminded me what stillness feels like. The act of writing by hand, without backspace or undo, without the pressure of audience or algorithm, created a private space where thoughts could exist without performance. I'll leave the link below if you want to explore what I mean. By day 3, The transformation was subtle but undeniable. She wasn't different, she was more herself. The person beneath the notifications, the mind behind the automatic responses. The soul that existed before it learned to quantify its worth in likes and shares and read receipts. When she unlocked her phone again, it wasn't the screen that felt different, it was her mind. She opened apps with intention instead of reflex. She responded to messages when she had something to say, not just to clear the notification. She curated her digital life like someone who understood its cost, not in money or data, but in presence, peace, and the quiet erosion of selfhood that happens one scroll at a time. The content you've just experienced is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute medical, financial, or professional advice and should not be used as a substitute for guidance from qualified professionals. All decisions made based on this content are the sole responsibility of the individual. Digital silence doesn't mean abandoning technology, it means remembering that you exist beyond it, that your thoughts have value even when they're not posted, that your experiences are real even when they're not documented. That connection is most powerful when it's chosen, not compulsive. She learned something essential in that silence. The world doesn't stop when you step away. The urgent rarely is. The important can wait. And the peace you're searching for in the next video, the next post, the next refresh, isn't hiding in the noise. It's buried beneath it. Somewhere between the notifications and the quiet, she found presence, not the one online, but the one within. The kind that doesn't need validation, doesn't require updates, doesn't disappear when the screen goes dark. The kind that remembers what it feels like to be a person instead of a profile, a soul instead of a status. Maybe that's what we're all starving for. Not more content, but more context. Not more connection, but deeper presence. Not more information, but more integration. The ability to feel our lives instead of just documenting them. To exist in the moment instead of constantly preparing it for an audience. The city kept moving outside her window, but now, when she looked up from her screen, she was actually there, present, breathing, whole, not waiting for the next notification to tell her who she was or what she should feel. This is what digital silence restores, not perfection, but perspective, not escape, but equilibrium. The simple, revolutionary act of being with yourself without mediation, translation, or performance. Of letting your mind wander without tracking its location. Of feeling without posting. Of existing without proving. Tell us what moment hit you the hardest and where in the world you're watching from. See you in the next reflection.